look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
She had no clue. But the world did. She had picked out his shirt that morning. A simple, blue button-down he always wore to events. She ironed it, handed him his keys, and kissed him goodbye. He told her, "It's just a work thing. I won't be late." Her name is Kerrigan Byron. Wife, mother, partner for over 12 years. She believed in him, trusted him. She didn't know that thousands of people were about to see what she couldn't. That night, a stadium full of lights. A Coldplay concert in New York City. Laughter, love, music, and in the middle of it all, a camera panned across the crowd. It was random, accidental, and it landed on two people, trying not to be seen. He sat low, legs wide, arms wrapped tightly around her waist. Kristin Cabot, his company's chief people officer. She leaned back into him like it wasn't the first time. Like she belonged there. His chin brushed her hair. Her hands covered her face. Their bodies hid the truth. But the camera didn't. That moment, lasting only 12 seconds, would change everything. The video went viral by sunrise. The internet wanted answers. But no one thought about the woman who already had them. Just not in the way she wanted. A shaky iPhone screen. Loud music. Blue and yellow lights paint the crowd. Coldplay is singing. Lights will guide you home. And then the crowd shifts. In section 112, row C, a couple sits differently. They're not clapping. Not dancing. They're folded into each other, almost hiding. Someone near them records it. Not because they know them, but because something feels tough. He's older. Sharp-suited. Expensive watch. She's younger. Stylish, but understated. And they're pressed close like a secret trying not to slip out. The video hits TikTok first. Caption, "Why does this feel like a secret office romance?" Flushed face. Then Twitter. Then Instagram. Then viral. People freeze frame. Zoom in. Someone comments, "Isn't that Andy Byron? CEO of Astronomer Corp." Another chimes in. "Wait, that's Kristin Cabot with him. She's HR." Now it's not just a concert moment. It's a corporate scandal unfolding in real time. Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer Corp, a rising tech giant based in Manhattan, known for his charm, clear speeches, and a quote he always loved to repeat. "Family first. Company second. Everything else is third." He gave TEDx talks. He took his kids to charity events. He posted family photos every Thanksgiving with captions like, "Blessed to do life with Kerrigan." He was the image of a perfect man. But the camera told a different story. Kristin Cabot. Young, respected, modern. Chief People Officer at Astronomer. Known for revolutionizing company culture. She and Andy were often photographed together at launches, team events, speaking panels. Always professional. Until now. In just 24 hours, the video gets 2.7 million views. 14,000 comments. News coverage on YouTube and Instagram gossip accounts. Most comments don't even know the full story yet. But some do. And then the screenshots start. Andy and Kristin spotted at the same restaurant last Friday. Kristin is seen leaving Andy's office late, again. Hotel log from Miami, same room number booked. Back in New York, Kerrigan Byron is on the couch. She's scrolling. A friend sends her the clip. At first she smiles. She loves Coldplay. Then she freezes. That watch. The hair. That shirt. That is her husband. And that's not her sitting in his lap. The air leaves the room. Her hand shakes. She rewinds. Watch again. Tears. Disbelief. Silence. She calls him. No answer. She calls again. Voicemail. The next morning, the clip is everywhere. News sites pick it up. CEO and Chief People Officer spotted at Coldplay. Too close for comfort? But this isn't about headlines. It's about Kerrigan. The woman who gave him her heart, her home, her youth. And now, all she has is a video the world keeps replaying. He promised her everything. He broke it in a moment he thought no one would notice. But now, the whole world is watching. And so is she. He said it was just work. But the smiles were never just professional. At company retreats, they were always side by side. At town halls, she always introduced him first. In photos they stood close, but not too close. Just enough to keep people guessing. Andy Byron and Kristin Cabot built a public image. A CEO and his chief people officer who ran the perfect company culture. But what no one saw were the glances. The long lunches. The hotel receipts didn't match the calendar. And 1,000 little lies wrapped in smiles. Andy and Kristin had a rhythm. When he spoke about vision, she followed with strategy. When he paused, she picked up the sentence. They weren't just respected, they were admired. The board called them a dream team. Young employees idolized them. LinkedIn praised them. They posted together. Glowing star, teamwork makes the dream work. Glowing star, so proud of what we're building together. And sometimes just emojis. Fire briefcase rocket. But when the office lights dimmed, that dream team crossed the line between collaboration and desire. 4 months before the concert, a leadership summit in Chicago. The company paid for 2 rooms, booked side by side. But hotel staff noted, only one room was used. Room 324. Both guests entered. Only one left for coffee the next morning. Security footage never lies. It showed Andy entering with a bottle of wine. Kristin entered 5 minutes later, wearing his hoodie. The checkout was together. Smiles. Laughter. No eye contact with the desk staff. The receipt went under executive travel. Their email exchanges were usually professional, until someone from IT flagged one by mistake. Subject line, that last meeting face blowing a kiss. Message, your hand on my leg under the table, you drive me insane. It wasn't sent to Kerrigan. It was sent to Kristin. Thousands of emails reviewed after that. Some deleted. Some saved. Some too intimate to ignore. Some employees noticed things. Andy laughing too hard at her jokes. Kristin waiting for his elevator even when another opened. Closed-door meetings that lasted hours. A moment during a holiday party where he fixed a strand of her hair. Whispers started. Are they a thing? No, he's married. She's just his favorite. But, have you seen how he looks at her? Still, no one said a word. Because in offices like these, power protects secrets. Back home, Kerrigan noticed too. Andy's late returns. The sudden out-of-town, board meetings. The password change on his iPad. The way he started turning his phone face down at dinner. She asked, is something going on? He smiled. You're imagining things. You always overthink. That was his defense. Gaslight her into silence. So she believed him. Because love does that. It chooses hope over facts. Until facts punch you in the chest, on a Coldplay night. Kristin knew he was married. She even met Kerrigan once at a company fundraiser. Pretty. Graceful. But Andy told Kristin stories. My wife and I aren't really connected anymore. We're staying together for the kids. She doesn't understand me like you do. Those lines. Predictable. But they worked. Kristin began believing she wasn't destroying a home. She was rescuing a man from an unhappy one. Everything might have stayed buried, if not for one hug, one song, one camera. Now the emails were leaked. Hotel records exposed. An anonymous staff member even posted. We all knew. The vibe between them wasn't just tension, it was history. And history always finds a way out, even if it hides behind perfect smiles. As the internet kept replaying that Coldplay hug, more people dug up more pieces. Kristin had once posted a quote. Sometimes you meet someone who feels like home, even if you already have one. Now it felt chilling. Now it felt like a confession. And Kerrigan? She was still silent. Still watching. Still wondering what else she never saw. He said it was just work. She said they were just close. But their eyes told a different story. And now the whole world is watching the truth unfold in real time. 1 room. 2 hearts. And a lie too big to undo. The elevator dinged on the 3rd floor. He checked in first. She arrived 20 minutes later. He held the door open. She slipped in without a word. The hallway camera caught the moment, but the front desk never asked questions. That night in room 324, Andy Byron and Kristin Cabot crossed the final line. No more subtlety. No more pretending. The moment the lock clicked behind them, so did their fate. It was a business trip to Miami, an industry conference astronomer had sponsored. The executive assistant booked them separate rooms. Room 322 for Andy, room 324 for Kristin. But Andy called the front desk privately. He canceled room 322. Then texted Kristin. Just come to mine. Less hassle. No one will know. She didn't reply at first. Then finally, okay. The concierge would later remember. Room 324 had the Do Not Disturb sign on all night and most of the next day. The room smelled like ocean air and minibar whiskey. Kristin sat on the edge of the bed, hands folded. Andy poured 2 glasses, sat beside her. They laughed. He put his hand on her back. She didn't stop him. The conversation slowed. His fingers moved to her cheek. Their first real kiss, the kind that rewrites every boundary they'd been dancing around. Somewhere in the background, the hotel TV played a Coldplay live concert clip. Kristin whispered, "We shouldn't be doing this." Andy kissed her again. "We already are." They emerged separately. But the night had already left traces. Kristin wore the same heels as the night before. Andy's hair was uncombed. They avoided each other in the lobby but smiled when no one was looking. They both returned to New York. To the office. To their roles. To their lies. Kerrigan Byron noticed small things. Andy changed his phone passcode. He started working late again. He became defensive when asked simple questions. He told her, "It's just a busy quarter. I'm carrying a lot. Please, stop making this harder." She wanted to believe him. She remembered the man who once held her face and promised her forever. But that man was fading, and she couldn't figure out why. Until she found the hotel receipt. It was buried in a stack of travel documents. Room 324. 1 guest name. 2 people seen entering on security. Her hands trembled. Her heart broke, not loudly, but deeply. That night she confronted him. "Kerrigan, were you alone in Miami?" Andy, without looking up, of course. "Kerrigan, then why is Kristin's room number the one you checked into?" Andy slams his laptop. "Why are you going through my stuff?" "Kerrigan, because I don't recognize you anymore." He snapped. "You're always in detective mode. Maybe if you trusted me, we wouldn't be having this conversation." Gaslighting. Classic. Turn the blame around. Make her feel small for asking. She didn't push further that night. But the silence between them grew heavier. Kristin wasn't guilt-free. But she had started to fall. Not just for Andy's touch, but for the stories he sold her. "We sleep in separate rooms. She doesn't love me like you do. You're the only thing keeping me sane." And somewhere along the way, Kristin stopped seeing Kerrigan as real. Just a name. A barrier. Not a woman with a heart, a home, and children. She convinced herself, if I'm making him happy, maybe it's not so wrong. It wasn't a one-time thing. Weeks later, they stayed in Austin, this time for a team retreat. Again 1 room. Again, executive travel. But this time, an employee spotted them at breakfast, laughing, touching fingers across the table. She told a friend. They looked like they were in love. Or like they wanted to be. Back home, Andy had become cold. He missed school pickups. Forgot to attend his daughter's piano recital. His son asked Kerrigan, "Why is Daddy always too tired to talk now? Does he not like us anymore?" Those words crushed her. Because deep down, she knew the answer. It wasn't about work anymore. It was about someone else. Room 324 didn't just hold 2 people. It held betrayal, deceit, and a choice Andy could never unmake. That night, he didn't just cheat on Kerrigan. He cheated his children, his company, his values. And now, no matter how many times he apologizes, that room will always be there. In her mind, in the paper trail, and on camera. Some doors you open can never be closed again. And some rooms become graves for the lives we swore we'd never destroy. She gave him everything. And he gave her a front row seat to her own heartbreak. She wasn't the CEO. She didn't sit on any board. She never asked for attention, applause, or recognition. All she wanted was a quiet, honest life. But the world didn't give her that. The man she trusted didn't either. Kerrigan Byron was never supposed to be part of the story. Until her husband wrote her into the worst chapter of his life. The sun rose. The video had already gone viral. The hug. The closeness. The hiding. Kristin Cabot's face buried in Andy's chest. Her husband's chest. Kerrigan sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her phone. Replaying the clip. And again. And again. At 6:42 a.m., she texted him. "Andy, I saw it. What is this?" No response. At 7:15 a.m. "Don't lie. Just tell me the truth." Still nothing. At 8:05 a.m. he walked through the door. The house was silent. The kids were at school. Just them. Just the truth, and all the noise it brought. "Kerrigan, I want you to say it." "Andy, say what?" "Kerrigan, that it's her. That you've been sleeping with Kristin." "Andy, you're making assumptions from a damn video?" "Kerrigan, I'm not blind, Andy. I know that hold. I felt it. I know that look in your eyes." He sat down, put his head in his hands. Silence. Then finally, "It's not what you think. I didn't mean for this to happen. You don't understand. And the one that hurt the most, Kristin sees me in a way you don't anymore." That sentence shattered her. She didn't scream. She didn't throw things. She just sat down. All the birthdays, all the bedtime stories, all the dinner tables, they came crashing down like a tower of glass. And all she could say was, "What about our children? Did you think about them when you checked into that room? What kind of man does this to his own family?" He said nothing, because there was nothing left to defend. Days passed. Then came the questions. His daughter, age 10. "Why does mommy cry in the bathroom now?" His son, 7. "Is daddy going to live somewhere else?" Kerrigan tried to smile. To protect them. To keep their little world intact. But kids always know. They feel what adults try to hide. Then came the public pressure. News articles. CEO Andy Byron inappropriately close with HR chief at Coldplay concert. Employees started whispering. Clients pulled back. Even school moms were texting Kerrigan. "Are you okay? I saw the video. I'm so sorry." She couldn't go to the grocery store without someone staring. She wasn't just a wife anymore. She was the woman who got cheated on by the zoo. She tried to hold it together. For her kids. For her sanity. School drop-offs. Packing lunches. Answering emails like nothing had happened. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw it. That moment. That hug. That betrayal in the middle of a Coldplay song. It didn't feel real. But the pain was. One night, alone in the kitchen, Kerrigan picked up the phone. She dialed Kristin's number. Tring, tring. Then voicemail. She left one message. "You know who this is. I don't know how you sleep at night, but I hope every time you hear a Coldplay song, you remember what you destroyed." Then she hung up and sobbed on the floor. A few days later, Andy came home late. Drunk, angry, defensive. "Are you going to cry every night now? You think you're the victim? You never supported me the way Kristin does. I work 14 hours a day, and all you do is question me." That was the moment she realized. He wasn't sorry. He wasn't confused. He was cruel. The next morning, she packed a small bag, left the kids with her sister, and walked out of the house. Not because she wanted to escape, but because she had to survive. She sat in her car and cried until she couldn't breathe. Then she drove. Nowhere in particular. Just away from the life that no longer felt like hers. Kerrigan Byron didn't ask for this story. She didn't choose the spotlight. She didn't cheat. She didn't lie. She didn't break anything. But she lost everything. And all because a man she trusted wanted something more than he already had. Sometimes the biggest heartbreaks don't come from strangers. They come from the person who promised to protect your heart and gave it away instead. It started with a hug and ended with an empire collapsing. Andy Byron was once the face of modern leadership. Visionary. Respected. Clean image. But all it took was one Coldplay night, and the truth behind it, to bring it crashing down. Because when a leader breaks trust, it's not just a marriage that shatters. It's the entire foundation beneath him. Days after the concert clip went viral, employees began whispering. Slack messages pinged silently. "Did you see the clip? That's Kristin. Our CPO." They were hugging like they were married. It didn't take long. By 9:30 a.m., HR's anonymous tip line had 5 messages. By noon it had 50. And by the end of the week, the board of directors had called an emergency meeting. Official statement released. An internal inquiry has been initiated regarding professional misconduct involving senior leadership. Behind closed doors, Kristin was asked to step aside from day-to-day duties. Andy was asked to submit a full written account of what happened. And legal counsel was brought in, because now it wasn't just about a rumor. It was about abuse of power. Whispers turned into testimonies. 3 female employees submitted confidential statements. One had noticed Andy and Kristin disappearing for long lunches. Another recalled a drunken holiday party moment. He looked at her like his wife wasn't in the room. A third had once accidentally overheard Kristin crying in her office after Andy left. Now it wasn't just an affair. It was an atmosphere. A culture of silence and favoritism. People began questioning Kristin's rise through the company. Was she promoted because of her skills? Or her relationship with the CEO? Junior HR officers were furious. We believed in her. She was the voice of the people. Now it feels like a lie. The irony? The chief people officer, may have broken every boundary HR was supposed to protect. A week later, Andy was called into a closed-door board meeting. He expected to defend himself. Instead, they showed him a timeline. The video. Hotel charges matching Kristin's travel. Testimonies. A drop in client trust. Social media boycotts. Staff resignations. Chairwoman, you built this company, but you no longer represent it. Andy, you can't do this. I am this company. Another board member, no. You were. They gave him two options. Public resignation, with a carefully worded exit. Immediate termination for cause. He chose option 1. Andy posted a letter on LinkedIn. Leadership is about growth. I've made personal mistakes that have impacted those around me. I'm stepping away to reflect and give space to the team to thrive without distraction. But the comments weren't forgiving. You didn't step away. You were forced out. What kind of leader cheats on his wife with his HR chief and calls it growth? No one bought it. Kristin Cabot, once a rising star in people strategy, deactivated her LinkedIn. Her company email bounced. Her name was scrubbed from the website. No goodbye post. No explanation. Just silence. Insiders whispered she had lawyers now, trying to avoid defamation charges, or worse, a harassment lawsuit from staff who claimed she enabled favoritism. Andy lost more than a job. He lost his credibility, his legacy, his standing in elite investor circles. Investors pulled out. One even tweeted, "You can't build a company on trust and break every personal boundary in public. I'm out." The company's valuation dropped 23% in 2 weeks. A new interim CEO was named. From outside the company, one quote stood out from her speech. "We're not here to cover up broken systems. We're here to rebuild them with integrity." The applause echoed through the building. Andy Byron watched the stream from home. Alone. No badge. No office. No future. The song that played the night everything began? Fix You. Now every time it plays on the radio, Andy remembers the moment it all broke. Not just his marriage. Not just his company. But the illusion that power could hide the truth forever. He lost the world he built because he forgot who helped him build it. He destroyed more than a marriage. But she rebuilt more than a life. Here's something no camera catches. Not the conference room battles, not the headlines, not even the affair. It's what happens after the damage is done. When the silence sets in and the rebuilding begins. For 12 days, Kerrigan Byron didn't say a word publicly. She took the kids, left their Manhattan brownstone, and went to her sister's house upstate. No press. No interviews. Just heartbreak. But privately, she wrote. Journals filled with what she never got to say. I was more than just his wife. I was the woman who believed in him when no one else did. How do you tell your children their father is still alive, but not the same man anymore? Her 9-year-old daughter, Emma, asked. Why are people saying Daddy was hugging another lady? Kerrigan didn't lie. She took a breath and said, sometimes adults make choices that hurt people they love. But that doesn't mean you're to blame. Ever. Emma cried. And that was the hardest part. Not the betrayal. Not the public shame. But watching her child carry a pain she didn't cause. Andy Byron was now unemployed, unwelcome, and unreachable. He moved into a small condo in Brooklyn. His lawyer advised him to stay low. His friends? Silent. One old colleague messaged, I'm sorry, but I have daughters. I can't support this. Andy stared at his phone for hours, looking for someone who still believed in him. He found no one. 2 weeks later, a crisis PR firm reached out. They offered him a roadmap. Do a podcast interview. Write an article about leadership and failure. Maybe join a nonprofit. He rejected it. People won't believe I care now. It's too late. The PR agent said, you're not trying to win them back. You're trying to live with yourself. Andy stayed silent. 1 month after the clip, Kerrigan posted on Instagram. A black and white photo of her and the kids holding hands by the river. Caption. Healing isn't loud. It's daily. It's quiet. It's painful. But I'm choosing it, for them and for me. The post went viral. People flooded the comments. You are the real strength in this story. Your grace is more powerful than his title ever was. You're the hero, not the victim. 2 months in, the headlines had faded. The Coldplay clip was buried under newer scandals. But one last chapter remained. Kerrigan filed for divorce. The statement from her lawyer read, this is not revenge. This is release. Kerrigan wishes Mr. Byron peace, from a distance. Andy didn't contest it. He signed quietly. No demands. No arguments. Just a scribbled signature on a lawyer's desk. Kristin never returned to corporate life. Insiders say she moved to Oregon. Started working with a wellness retreat. No press. No interviews. Her LinkedIn now reads, former chief people officer. Forever a human being learning. People still debate her role. Was she a victim? An enabler? A partner in betrayal? Maybe all of it. Maybe none. But she vanished from the spotlight, just like the man she once stood behind in public. The company, once known for innovation, became known for something else. Rebuilding transparency. They launched new ethics programs. Rehired women leaders who had left. Introduced a no-exception policy on workplace boundaries. A junior employee who stayed said, "We lost a founder, but we found our soul." It's been 1 year. Emma's now in therapy. Kerrigan has started a small business helping women re-enter the workforce. Andy? He still walks the park alone. No assistant. No chauffeur. Just headphones. And when Coldplay plays Fix You, he stops. Every time. Because that song doesn't just remind him of Kristin. It reminds him of everything he broke that night. Not just rules. Not just vows. But a family. A team. And the one person who truly believed in him. The world remembers the scandal. But she remembers the silence that came after. And in that silence, she found herself again.